welcome to Beowulf the game. This was released in 2007 after the live-action film that was also released in 2007, and all of the same actors that were in the movie actually voice the characters in this game. Now, I've kind of read the synopsis of the game ahead of time, and there's already some things that I think are going to be kind of out of left field that are not in any of the translations, but we'll see how it goes. There's for sure like a part of the game that is the 30 or so years between Beowulf defeating Grendel and Grendel's mom and then defeating the dragon that is in the game, so that's kind of interesting. So we'll see how this goes. Let's start the game. Difficulty setting. I'm gonna go for the low setting. I'm not. Hey, it's Oliver. Before we actually play the game, I'm gonna contextualize that I'm only gonna go through about the first quarter of the game because the 30 years that the game does go through, which is most of the game, is a lot of conjecture. It's a lot of maybe this is what happened, and also a lot of just stuff they decided to make up that doesn't have anything to do with the original translation. So I am going to focus on the first quarter of the game, which is a lot more closely aligned with the original poem. That way I can kind of show you some actual similarities and differences rather than looking at things that are total speculation or completely made up. Hello? Okay, we've got a sea monster. That's terrifying.
I, Hrothgar, master of battles, king of the Danes. I have a story for you.
Okay, Hrothgar's narrating. That's really interesting.
The bards once sang of how I slayed the great dragon of the north, single-handedly. Of how I, King Hrothgar, built the great hall of Heorot to celebrate our might, to feast and fornicate.
At least he's honest.
And still, I lusted after power and gold. And she gave it to me.
She?
I, Hrothgar the fearless, Hrothgar the monster slayer, Hrothgar the accursed!
Oh, they're chanting for Beowulf.
But then, this is not my story. It is yours. It is your turn to test your mettle and face the consequences of your acts.
I wonder what he means by a curse.
Okay, Wiglaf, we get the picture. First one to reach the banner wins.
Go ahead and give him a head start, Wiglaf. Never makes a difference anyway. Ready, steady, go!
This time, victory's mine!
Oh, I'm running. Okay, so I'm Wiglaf. I am not very fast. How do I go faster? Oh, that's how I... that's how I do that. What is that bar in the bottom?
That's the boy, Beowulf. Show them who's in charge.
I think Beowulf's supposed to win.
Who's the hero now, Beowulf?
Oh, I'm Beowulf. Okay, I just need to slide down.
Festival! Let's get 'em!
Come on, Beowulf, keep up! You're no more
Objective, kill the crabs. Okay. Okay.
Look out!
I was like, who the hell is Big?
Somebody will
This is
get
Brekka.
killed.
Or yeah, okay.
You keep it up, Brekka, my friend.
Okay, this is
Someday
Brekka.
You may actually be.
So we are lore accurate currently. We are. Ow! Nice. Yeah, we killed the crabs. Yeah. Okay, I thought we were racing.
Let's see
Wiggle
what
off, and that made no
awaits
sense.
in the open sea. Victory alone awaits me in her arms.
If my skin bag were as big as your ego, Beowulf, I'd be the richest man of the Northlands. Who made you king, anyway?
Oh.
All right, boys, enough. You'll both choke on your pride before you even hit the water. Now line up, if you two really have a death wish.
Okay, now we're racing through the sea. Before we get to the actual swim and the fight against the monsters, we can talk about the translations really quick. Tolkien's translation, we don't see the actual swimming contest. In Headley's translation, we don't see the swimming contest. We only see Beowulf recounting the contest to Unferth. And in both versions, Beowulf talks about Brekka really fondly, like they're brothers. And in this video game, it seems like they don't get along. Like they're competing against each other, but there's like animosity there. And that seems to be a common characterization of Beowulf throughout this game, is that there's a lot of people who don't like him. And this is because he's like arrogant and proud, and this boasting culture that we see in the poem is translated to how like we would perceive it. Like it's seen as a negative trait. So this kind of characterization follows the entire game and does not match up with either translation at all.
Path to glory is brutal, let me warn you, but it is also full of charm, so irresistible. In the end, all men die, Beowulf. But while you live, hero, your legacy is yours to build. Man, monster slayer, and as a king.
Beowulf! Get your ass back to shore, Brekka! The sea is my mother! I will send you back into her murky tomb!
Yeah, I'm gonna take this thing with my bare hand. Don't you worry about it. Ow! Oh, that's not doing it. Into the sea by the sea monster. I thought I had gotten killed.
My shining hero.
I told you to pay attention to the lady. So now it looks like we've got like a Lady of the Lake type situation where she's given him these powers that we now have to use to fight the sea monster. This is not in any version that I've ever read of Beowulf. This is totally unique to the game. So honestly, that are not accurate. We've just been granted some powers from a strange lady who, spoiler alerts, that's Grindel's mother. The Lady of the Lake is Grindel's mom, and that's who just gave us our powers. That is not in any translations. That's not there. Um, so I think what's happening here to make it more relevant to modern audiences is that this guy has to have superpowers. We don't believe in people who have superhuman strength on their own or God given strength, religiously given strength. That's not really a thing in our modern culture. Back then, absolutely, but here not so much. So we're kind of relying on this magical quality, and it has to come from somewhere. So apparently, that somewhere is going to be Grindel's mother. So Grindel's mother has given Beowulf power, which gives us the modern answer for why Beowulf is so powerful. And this is a huge theme throughout the game, is the temptation of power, which is also a theme within the books, and it's a criticism in Tolkien's translation, especially, I would say.
Someday, Beowulf, you'll live in the shadow of Brecca's glory.
A hero rushes into danger fearlessly, and oh, so blindly.
So I've skipped ahead to is that he's very humanized visually and like in the way he talks, because he comes to the mead hall, he comes to Heorot because Beowulf is leading all of his men in song and it's driving Grendel crazy. So he goes in and he's like, leave me alone, I just want to go to sleep, your guys are driving me nuts. So he's very humanized in this version, but he also looks really gross, so I'm glad we're like getting rid of him. I have to grab a pillar. And that's me trying to figure out how to play the game. So you can hear some whispering. That's Grindel's mom whispering to Beowulf, and Grindel's mom has given him this dark magic and is now in his head. And she represents temptation, which is an interesting new theme that I don't really see in the original poem, but is in this game, is like this battle with temptation, this battle with evil. I think that the way that it connects back, though, is because Beowulf's resistance to dark magic and to evil determines how his people view him. And your choices in the game determine how your people view you. So you can choose to give in to the dark magic, to use the dark magic more, and put your things at risk. When you use it, you accidentally kill them and people view you negatively, or you can choose not to use it, but you have this constant voice from Grindel's mom in your head telling you, use it, use it, use it. So that's a really interesting direction that they've taken the story, while I think still giving a criticism on the warrior culture of the time, which is also really cool because it kind of modernizes it, and I think further Christianizes it, because Grindel's mother is like a demon who is able to grant power and is a representation of temptation, like a succubus.
Time since a man has
So when we were going into her lair, she's all succubi. Hello, and she has other ladies with her.
I see you brought me treasure.
And I don't know how to pronounce them, but they're like Norse female spirits that are associated with fate, and they could either be good or bad, but she has them as like her minions, and they're all trying to tempt uh, Beowulf, and you end up losing in the end, and he is tempted. You just have to go through this specific scene for a while. For a while, and I think that's maybe part of the modern appeal for audiences. I mean, it's a battle game where there are women spirits who try to tempt you into giving them children. So there's that. I think it's an interesting take on Beowulf as a character as well, because there is two kind of faces to him already in Beowulf by Headley and by Tolkien, because you've got Beowulf, who is more warrior focused, and then you've got a Beowulf who's more people focused. And then in here you can kind of choose in the video game for different reasons. You know, you've got dark magic now, but the idea is kind of still there. I think one last thing that I noted about the game versus the poem itself in both translations is the distinct ramp up of misogyny. And while there's themes of masculinity within Beowulf, and both in Headley and Tolkien's translation, maybe in slightly different ways, this game is incredibly misogynistic in multiple ways. I mean, you saw the sequence with Grendel's mother, and then there's this song, and I understand the compulsion to paint a picture of warrior culture. You know, they're a bunch of guys, dudes together, talking about women before they go into battle. I guess, but I just don't see its parallel in either translation of the poem. So I think here is an example of kind of this appeal to modern audiences, saying, hey, you know, this is the fun side of warrior culture, making it more relevant. Maybe not the right way, but it is definitely a big difference between the actual poem and the game.
Raise hell, men!
The fattest of the virgins on earth.
Louder! Louder! He's at the door!
Army can't peace, still wanted more.